A major political and legal storm is unfolding in Nigeria, and at the center of it is former Kaduna State Governor Nigerian El-rufai, whose arrest, detention, and now conditional bail have triggered not just courtroom drama, but a wider national debate about justice, power, and political intent. On Tuesday, a federal high court in Kaduna granted El-rufai bail after nearly 2 months in custody. The ruling, delivered by Justice Rewa Aikawa, marked a turning point in his legal battle, but not a conclusion. The court imposed stringent conditions, including a 200 million naira bond, high-profile sureties, surrenders of his international passport, and restrictions on public commentary. Until those conditions are met, he remains in the custody of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. On paper, this is a legal process unfolding as expected, but outside the courtroom, a very different narrative is gaining momentum. Across opposition circles and civil society space, El-rufai's arrest is increasingly being described as a political witch hunt. Critics argue that the sequence of events surrounding his detention raises serious questions. They point to his initial arrest by the EFCC, his subsequent re-arrest by ICPC, and the prolonged detention that followed. To them, this is not just prosecution, it is pressured. Several opposition leaders have openly questioned whether the actions taken against El-rufai are purely legal or politically motivated. The involvement of multiple agencies in quick succession, they argue, create the impression of a coordinated effort to keep a high-profile political figure entangled in legal battles. Civil society organizations have echoed similar concerns, while acknowledging that no one should be above the law. They warn that the perception of selective justice can be just as damaging as injustice itself. When legal processes appear inconsistent or targeted, public trust begins to erode. And in democracy, trust is essential. At the center of these allegations is the ruling All Progressive Congress, which some critics accuse of using state institutions to weaken potential political rivals ahead of future elections. No direct evidence has been publicly confirmed to support this claim, but the narrative is gaining traction, particularly as Nigeria moves closer to another election cycle. Government officials and prosecuting agencies, however, strongly reject this characterization. They insist that the charges against El-rufai, which include allegations of money laundering, abuse of office, and unlawful possessions of public assets, are grounded in evidence and due process. For them, this is a test of accountability, not politics. But in Nigeria's political environment, separating law from politics is rarely straightforward. El-rufai is not just any former governor. He is a prominent and influential figure with a long history in national politics. His legal troubles, therefore, carry implications that extend beyond Kaduna State. They intersect with broader political alignments, rivalries, and the ongoing repositioning of key actors ahead of 2027. And the timing is significant. The legal battle is unfolding at a moment when opposition parties are struggling to consolidate and present a united front. The African Democratic Congress, a platform that has attracted attention in recent months, is itself dealing with internal crisis. A faction within the party in Adamawa State has already announced the suspension of high-profile figures, including Atiku Abubakar, highlighting deep divisions within its rank. At the same time, The party has been forced to navigate logistical and political challenges ahead of its national convention in Abuja, after failing to secure major public venues such as Eagle Square and the Moshood Abiola National Stadium. The ADC announced a last-minute shift to a private facility, the Rainbow Event Center. Party officials have suggested that their inability to access these venues point to possible obstruction, a claim denied by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, who insists that no formal application was received. Taken together, this development paints a picture of an opposition space under strain, facing both internal divisions and external pressure, whether real or perceived. And this is where El-rufai's case takes on added significance. For his supporters, it reinforces the belief that political actors outside the dominant structure may face institutional challenges. For others, it is a reminder that accountability must apply to all, regardless of status or affiliation. Meanwhile, the legal proceedings themselves continue on multiple fronts. At the Kaduna State High Court, a separate case involving El-rufai has been adjourned to April 21st. There, he faces additional charges, including fraud and abuse of office, further complicating his legal situation. What this means is that even with bail granted at the federal level, his legal battles are far from over. Heavy security presence at court proceedings reflects the sensitivity of the situation. As public interest remains high and political tensions continue to simmer, every development is being closely watched, not just for its legal implications, but for what it signals about the broader political climate. Because ultimately, this is no longer just a legal story. It is a story about perception and power, about whether institutions are seen as neutral arbiters or as tools within a larger political context, about whether justice can be pursued without raising doubt about motives. In the coming days, attention will shift to whether El-rufai can meet his bail conditions and secure his release, and to the next court ruling expected later this month. But beyond these immediate developments, the larger questions will remain. Is this accountability in action or politics in motion? In Nigeria today, the answer may depend not only on what the courts decide, but on what the public believes. Leaving you on that note, like, share, hit the subscription button, and do well to engage in the comment section. I am Cassie Tony, and this is News Express. Many thanks for watching.